for joining my channel. My name is Candace Smith and this is Openly Broken. I wanted to do this video in response to the People magazine cover story of Mariah Carey, a famous singer, coming out admitting that she deals with bipolar disorder, a mental health issue. And I actually, when people started talking about it, I went out and searched for the actual magazine because I love magazines. I, have to limit myself for like a budget to maybe getting like one a month, and I usually get Oprah's magazine. But this month I got People because, I wanted to definitely check out her story. I was very interested in reading it, so it was finally on the shelf today. So I got it, had a chance to sit down and read it and do some reflecting, and I wanted to talk about it. Mariah Carey was probably one of the first singers for me that I was a fan of. Growing up, the one of the first songs that I heard from her was Hero, and I really, really loved that song. My mom, she was a big fan. I was younger. I didn't have money to go purchase any CDs or anything, but she had her CDs and she would play them. And I actually got a chance to listen to the words of her songs. And of course, her voice was so beautiful. And so I became a fan, and I at one point had a lot of her CDs and stuff like that. And just throughout her career, I've been a very big fan. I know she's going through a lot of ups and downs and stuff like that, which all celebrities do, which everyone does. We're not exempt. We just know they're dirt. But we all go through ups and downs, and she's not exempt from that, and she's going through her ups and downs in her personal life and in her career. And so now she's out talking about how she's been dealing with this mental illness since 2001. And reading the article, it definitely touched home with me on a lot of different um ways, in a lot of different ways. A lot of things that she was saying I can definitely relate to. I love how she's saying it's time to finally share my story. I can definitely relate to that, and it's not something that can be rushed. In the article, she mentions that she was actually diagnosed in 2001. Now it's 2018. You do the math of how many years it's been that she's been living with this privately, and celebrities are, open. They're more open than the average people. We know so much about them. And she talks about the fear of having to try to hide this big thing, this big deal, and it's really sad. It's really sad to me. At first she admits that she was in denial. I definitely can understand that. The very first time that I heard the words depression, mental health, mental illness in the same sentence as me and my name, Candace, I cannot even describe the feeling that I had. It was a terror. It was like, oh no, 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 you got it all wrong, not me. It made me feel less than. It made me feel like, oh, like a fear, like, oh my God, when people find out, are they gonna label me as crazy? All sorts of things ran through my head. Will they take my kids away? Was one of the biggest things that I faced, as far as thinking about, people finding out that I'm dealing with a mental health issue. It's like, oh my God, will people think that I'm unsafe to be around? Will people think that, oh, the kids are not safe around her, maybe we need to take the kids? It's just such a fear, and I definitely can relate to her saying that she had a fear of losing everything. All of a sudden you can become somebody who's not stable, somebody who, hey, maybe we don't want to work with you, because you're unstable, you know, relationships. Maybe I don't want to be around you. Maybe I don't want to be your friend anymore. Maybe I don't want to be in a relationship anymore with you. I definitely thought about, her marriage that ended with Nick Canyon. Like, did that have something to do with it? I know, left untreated, like everything else in life, like every other physical ailment, you can get a paper cut. Left untreated, it could turn into something so much more than what you bargained for. And it's the same way with your mental health. And people seem to think that, oh, it's only certain people that can go through these things. No, that's not true. We all can be susceptible. I hope I'm saying that right. We all can be exposed to this just by the traumas in life if we don't deal with things properly. So no one is exempt. And I know that, what she deals with bipolar disorder, too, which is something they're saying is like a chemical imbalance, the highs and the lows. It's very true, but there are other mental illnesses out here that a lot, especially within the black community, that a lot of people are dealing with, especially PTSD. It is like really a big deal in the African American community, and we just are ignoring the signs, thinking that it's normal everyday life to behave in this erratic, overly sexualized, violent, just craziness. And it's not. And I hate to use the word normal, but healthy is the word that I would like to use. So, I really applaud her for coming out and sharing her story. I know that it's not easy. I know firsthand, like, I do still kind of live in a fear, just as a black woman, because as black people, we have a fear of the system. We have a fear of the systems. We have fear of, like, the prison system, of course, and the health system. Like, we don't really want to go to people for help, especially people that are not black. I have just run into this so much. I've had several conversations with different people that are so hesitant about even considering getting help. They are in a very scary state. Very scary state of mind. Their situation is really, really unhealthy and dangerous and not stable. There's help out there, but they're scared to get that help because there is a fear of systems within the black community, and the stigma is real. It is so real, which is why we do need more conversations. We really needed this big magazine cover to come out and say, I'm dealing with this. And then for her to say, yes, I'm still working on music. I'm back in the studio. I've got it, manageable. I'm taking the correct medications because it's something that you have to live with. The same way that people live with type 2 diabetes and leukemia, and they're living with whatever diseases, cancer. We don't isolate those people. We don't shun them. We embrace them. We fight for them. But when it comes to mental health, we get isolated. We get looked at funny, like, oh, it's such a taboo subject to talk about, so I'm just so excited that she came out and said everything that she said in the magazine. Honestly, I sat at the table today reading it, and I kind of teared up. I kind of teared up because it feels so good sometimes to feel like you're not alone. And I know it's crazy because you don't you if you know how it feels to go through this, you don't want nobody else to have to go through it. But it just really does feel good to have somebody to be like, hey, I'm going through this too, but I'm surviving it. I'm managing it. She has kids. Now she's co-parenting. It really does says something. It does make a very huge statement. So I'm so excited to see this. I hope that any and everybody, whether you deal with a mental health issue or not, that you check it out, because we all just need to be aware of it regardless of whether you deal with it or not. Especially in the African American community, we really need to be more aware of mental health issues. So, another thing that she talks about was more about the bipolar disorder, and I like how she broke it down and gave examples of like the mania, the moments of high. you know we can miss it sometimes because it's like, okay, for me, I'm a creative person, so I will have these moments where, oh my God, I get so much work done. I have these moments where even if it's around the house, like I'll redecorate the whole entire house and it'll be nice, and you know, or even with money, I'll go on a big shopping spree, or it's just like all of this extra energy, like all of a sudden, your adrenaline is rushing, but for days. And I know that sounds crazy, but it feels that way. It feels very scary. And for a long time, I didn't recognize it. I didn't know, that that's what was happening. I just thought it was me. I just thought it was normal. But then I would have these extreme low lows. And, the more it happened, the more it was like, it would bother me because I would wonder, how is it that I can get all of this stuff done sometimes? Then other times it's like a chore to get out of bed, to brush my teeth, to wash my face, to wash my butt, to like, want to dress up, want to do my hair. I would miss church. I would miss school. And I know people would be like, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you being unfaithful? Why are you not, why are you excited to be a part of it and the go getter and the encourager in this moment, and then in the next moment we can't find you? And I didn't have an answer for them. And so it would make me further retreat. It would make me further like distance myself from, sociable activities and people within the community and family and friends, because I didn't have an answer for them. I didn't know what to tell them. So, just learning more about what I go through has helped me to find different ways to maintain it and work through and kind of stay at an even balance. And she kind of goes into medications and stuff like that. She doesn't get specific, but one thing I will say about medication, she does kind of talk about how the side effects can be. I have not, taken any medications. I was really considering it this year, but there are other ways that you can cope with some of the mental illnesses. Some of them you do need medications because it's a chemical imbalance. Then some things you can change your diet, you can exercise, you can do counseling and other types of therapies that will kind of help. And for me, one thing that I definitely know that helps me is walking, getting out, exercising, fresh air. Oh my God, when the winter months come, when it's rainy, if I have like conflicts or traumas or high anxiety moments, it can put me in a depression. So I have to be very careful. I have to find other ways to cope, with myself and what I'm going through during those times. Because the thing about it is if I get into low moments, they have a snowball effect where, okay, it could be a bad day, but because I'm not able to do my normal routine and my normal regimen, it snowballs into a week, and then it could be 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks, and then a month is going by, and my hair is matted. I'm barely doing anything, as far as my goals and stuff like that. Barely, just barely able to like function. So, I have to just be very careful and stay on top of it. The same way we have to do with our physical health. When we're running into health issues, we can't take it lightly. We got to stay on top of whatever the doctor prescribes. If the doctor prescribes you to walk every day, you got to get your butt up and you got to walk. If the doctor says you need to journal, you need to talk to someone, you need to take these medications the same way. If you're dealing with diabetes or something and they say, hey, you got to change your diet. You got to take these pills every such and such hour. You have to do it. If you get an infection or whatever and they give you an antibiotic and they say take it 2 times a day for 14 days, you better do it. You better not take it for 7 days thinking that you feel better, and so you stop taking your medicine because it comes back. It's the same thing. You have to stick to your regimen. You have to stick to whatever is working for you. So, like I said, I'm just so proud of her for coming out and sharing her story. I'm proud of her for getting back because, God made her that way. He made her as a singer, as a writer. Your gift helps you. And I recognize that in my life. I have to write. I have to do these things because this is what God gave me. This is my tool. This tool is not just for the world. It's not just to make money. It's to help me. It's a lifeline. It's a way for me to get my deepest emotions, my deepest feelings, my deepest thoughts out into this world, freeing myself from certain things. And when we don't use that, we're bound. We can be bound and depressed. So I'm so glad that she's back in the studio. And I can't wait to hear what she comes out with because I know for myself, once I came out with my story and just got it out there, I felt so free. And I've been continuing to walk in that freedom throughout this whole process. And it's allowed me to express myself just so much better than I have in years because I don't have the weight of this big secret. I don't have the weight of not knowing what's wrong with me on my shoulders and not able to express it. Now I know, so I can express it. I can use my art, my craft, my gift to express something that I couldn't before. It only makes you better. When you're honest about yourself, about whatever it is that you're going through, just be honest. Just be open about it. The people that are for you, that's going to be their loyal support, that's going to love you, they're going to stick with you. They're not going anywhere. And sometimes that can be a fear that I'm going to lose, just like she said. I I was in fear of losing everything. Fear of letting people down are her exact words. Fear of losing everything and a fear of letting people down. And I definitely get that because sometimes we can look at people like they're just, you know, indestructible. Nothing can hurt them or permeate, their strength or whatever. You just don't know what people are going through on the inside and what they're dealing with. So we can't look at people like that, and then we can't allow how people look at us to make us stay in a position that is unhealthy. And that is something that I definitely had to learn for myself. Like, no, my strength comes in admitting who I really am and what I'm really facing and what I'm dealing with and how I'm going to conquer it. That's where my strength comes in. It doesn't come in pretending. It doesn't come in putting on this big facade and this face and this smile, plastering a fake smile on my face and just, trying to get through. No, that is not where true strength lies. True strength lies in your honesty and being honest with who you are and where you are in life. And this is me. Deal with it. Because I got to deal with it. So, hey, you going to deal with it too. So, the last thing that I want to talk about that she mentioned was she had to set boundaries. She mentioned boundaries, and when I was going through the 28 days of self-love on my blog, www.openlybroken.com, I talked about boundaries, and it is a very important thing. For us to remain healthy, especially when you're dealing with a mental health issue, you have to set boundaries. You can't overexert yourself. You have to work out of how healthy you are. It makes no sense for me to have the flu and still try to go to the gym. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not well. So during this process, I've had to kind of like quarantine myself. I had to like get away and really take some time to focus on myself and get myself healthy. And I definitely applaud her for doing that, and I applaud her for saying that, because it is not easy, because you would want to try to make sure everyone's happy, like she said, not let anyone down. But at the end of the day, if we want to continue on doing this and have a good, healthy life, one thing I recognize is that I couldn't continue doing what I was doing. Certain things had to change. My eating habits had to change. I had to exercise more. I had to separate myself a little bit and take some time for myself to get healthy and well so that I can survive. It had nothing to do with anything else, but like for my survival, I had to do it. So I just, once again, I applaud her. I enjoyed reading the entire article. This will be a magazine that I'll definitely keep, and I'm so proud of her. I'm glad that she's back. And like I said, I can't wait to see what she comes out with the next album. I'm excited to hear it. So, anyways, feel free to share your thoughts. I may do a blog post, a written one on this topic. Um, and I do plan on covering more news type things when it comes to mental health, especially in the African American community, because that's what my blog and my channel is all about: mental health in the African American community, erasing the stigma, just having conversations and opening up dialogue for us to have a space to express, our concerns and our thoughts and our feelings on this subject. Okay, so until next time, peace.